Out front now, Ben Jealous, former president and CEO of the NAACP, and Pastor John Perry, former president of the Brunswick, Georgia chapter of the NAACP. And of course, I know, Pastor, you were at the courthouse every day of this trial. So let me just start with what today meant to you. After 11 hours, they come to a verdict before Thanksgiving. You may have anticipated they would come to a verdict, but you may not have anticipated everything you heard. What did it mean to you?
Well, for me personally, it was breathtaking. I went through this process with a sense of hope that we would get a guilty verdict, but to actually get the guilty verdict said that our justice system wasn't fully broken, that there's still some level of hope for our justice system. And so I believe that everyone on those grounds felt the same way.
So, Ben, I want to read some of President Biden's statement after the verdict. Here is what he said. He said, while the guilty verdicts reflect our justice system doing its job, that alone is not enough. Instead, we must recommit ourselves to bringing a future of unity and shared strength where no one fears violence because of the color of their skin. And obviously, he's referring to the fact that that's even big, right? Not talking about the jury or what happened there, talking about the fact that Ahmaud Arbery was shot in the first place, right? Is this verdict a step in that direction or not that far?
You know, this is a very good sign that the people of Brunswick, the people of Georgia are moving in the right direction. At the same time, we can't forget that it took days and weeks and months before these charges were brought, that they were only brought because videotape was leaked. And it suggests, quite frankly, that the person who's the district attorney perhaps should find a different job, and that the people need to keep building a movement to make sure that justice actually reflects the best of our nation, the best of Georgia, and the best of Brunswick. The fact that a prosecutor had to be brought in from a different county is a reminder, quite frankly, that the leadership in law enforcement in Brunswick often lags behind the people.
So I want to ask you a follow on that quickly here first, Ben, because as you point out, no one was arrested until more than 2 months when the cell phone video of that confrontation leaked online, right? So again, back to all the way through here, systemically, what needed to change, right? A person was shot who shouldn't have been shot, and no one would have ever known about it had it not leaked online, right? From there, the justice system did its job. But those two starting points are deeply problematic. Let me just play that moment of when it went online. So nothing happened for 2 months. That video comes out, and then the wheels of justice begin. Do you have hope, Ben, that this sort of thing isn't happening now, won't happen again?
Oh, no, I'm sure that it's happening somewhere. You know, as you say, racism is not new. It's just being caught on videotape. But I'm also really, I think my spirits are bolstered both by this verdict and the verdict in the Charlottesville case. 2 juries south of the Mason-Dixon doing the right thing. Again, it suggests that the people of our country are moving forward in a way that law enforcement too often is not, and that the people, therefore, need to get much more involved in determining who represents them as the prosecutor of the county, as the top prosecutor, and who represents them as sheriff, and who represents them as judge. Too often, frankly, the people who are in those elected positions lag like a generation behind the rest of us. And it's at a great price to justice in this country.
So, Pastor Perry, that gets me to the jury, right? Regular citizens. And there's been a lot of talk throughout this trial about the racial makeup of that jury. 11 white people, 1 black person. During the jury selection, prosecutors objected because defense attorneys repeatedly moved to strike potential black jurors from the trial. Prosecutors called it unconstitutional. But you heard the prosecutor today say the jury system works in this country. All 3 men, of course, found guilty, right? And despite a whole lot of headlines before the verdict focusing on the racial makeup of the jury just did the right thing. Does that give you hope?
Well, you know, got it going. Of course, the air was knocked out of us as a community when we found out that the jury was going to only have 1 black person. And what it said to us as a community is that our justice system has ways of alienating black and brown people from the process. And that was highly concerning. Of course, with gavel to gavel coverage, many people were being educated on our legal system as they went through the process. And they discovered that that's one of the areas that we need to come together and aggressively deal with. Now, it's refreshing to know that the consciousness of our citizens have evolved and they can make just decisions despite color. And so we're excited about the fact that with 11 whites and 1 black, that we were able to get the justice that we got in this particular case. But as Ben stated, in so many other places, today is not the case. And so there's a lot of work that we have to do.
All right. I appreciate both of you taking the time on this Thanksgiving Eve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.